The starting point is that we all want to finish projects on time, but very frequently, in spite of all our efforts, we do suffer from delays. We start working on projects, we're hoping that everything is going to be okay, that everything will go smoothly, and then we get stuck. Something is missing. It can be a part, it can be an ingredient, it can be a person, a professional that we need in order to get this, some part of the job done. It can be a resource or even an authorization. We're waiting for authorization, we didn't get it. We hoped it will arrive on time, but it didn't, and now we are stuck. So this is the situation that I want to talk about. I'm sure it's not a unique situation to a specific type of project. We all encounter it in every multi-project environment. Something is missing. This is what I'm referring to when I'm saying lack of full kit. Lack of full kit is one of the major obstacles to project flow. We want the flow to go on, we want the project to go smoothly, but then there is an obstacle that causes a delay. Lack of full kit is one of the major obstacles that we encounter almost in every multi-project environment. A few weeks ago, I just want to give you an example. I was talking with a wonderful consultant, Adam Bean, his name. He works in Queensland, Australia. And he was hired to help out in a really large project in a local power station. The project was about replacing their cooling towers, the old cooling towers that were made out of wood, with brand new cooling towers that are made out of fiberglass. It's a huge project. We're talking about over 1 million hours, several hundreds of professionals on the ground in 2 shifts around the clock, and the delays started to accumulate, that they were really concerned that it's going to get out of control. And what Adam did was, he said, I am hitting the ground running. I'm not going to spend any time looking at numbers. I want to talk to the people. I want to visit the teams. I want to see what causes the delay. And he said the first few days, he walked over 11 kilometers a day, visiting one team after the other, asking, why aren't you working? What's stopping you? Why did you stop work on something? What's causing the delay? Every team he talked with told him something else was missing. It sounds simple, and it is simple, but look at this highly complicated project. And what is keeping them from moving forward is this simple obstacle of lack of full kit. Any team was stuck because something else was missing. And as soon as they realized it and they put all their focus into getting those things that were missing, things started to shift. And actually what he could tell us, and there are videos on LinkedIn about it if you want to see the story in pictures, from what was a true concern of significant delay, they actually finished the project in record time. So what is full kit? Full kit means that before we start working on a project or a large piece of a project, we make a list of all the items that we'll need in order to complete the project. All the items, parts, ingredients, people, resources, authorizations, paperwork, contracts, all the things that we need in order to complete. So once we hit the road running, nothing will cause a delay because it's missing. The next thing I want to cover is who should be preparing the full kit, who should be writing that list. Should it be one of the newbies that we just hired because he doesn't know much and he has a lot of time on his hands? Or should it be the experts who really know what they're talking about and know how to make that complete list so nothing will be delayed later? And I know what you're going to tell me right now. You're going to say, Efrat, listen, this is theoretically awesome, but come on, the experts are overly occupied. They're just not going to find the time. But think about it. What are the experts busy with? They are busy with fighting fires because things are missing. So what will be a better use of their time? To fight fires after the disaster happened or after the delay was caused and running around like chicken with no heads? Or sit down quietly before we start the project, write down the full list so we can ensure the fire won't happen. It's the experts who need to do the full kit, and it needs to be done for every project. We need to allocate a manager, someone with enough power to be in charge that the full kit is being maintained. We call it having a gate. We establish a gate at the starting point of the projects. The manager in charge is actually the gatekeeper. So every time we are about to start a project, he will verify with the people in charge that a full kit was prepared and it is full, and only then he will give the permission to open the gate and get started with working on the project. And as I'm saying, this manager needs to be high enough in the level and with enough authority. So if someone messed up and there is no full kit, he will have the power to say, I'm sorry, you won't get started. You won't create chaos because you will get stuck later and you will cause delay, and we don't want it. This is the way to ensure a fast flow for projects. When we know about the project, of course, it's, when the right time comes, the expert makes the full kit, but there is something else that I would like to discuss. We call it T- preparation. Of course, the expert writes down that checklist, but sometimes he's not the person or the team that is actually doing the groundwork, preparing the full kit. And that's okay. It depends on the nature of the project. But the gatekeeper, the manager, needs to make sure that enough time to start the project minus preparation, enough time in advance, those people who should be in charge of actually gathering and checking all the items on that full list, that they know that project is going to start within an X amount of time and they start preparing for it. We need a process in place. It seems like very often we are in such a rush to start early, hoping that if we start early, we will avoid delays, that we don't stop to think whether we have everything. And even if we know for a fact we don't have everything that we need, it seems like we have this prayer in our heart that by the time we need that piece, it will miraculously arrive. Someone will take care of it, or time will take care of it, and a delay won't be caused. And you and I know that very often it doesn't happen. I want to say a little more. I want to go a little further into full kit so you get the full picture before I talk about the entire book. Especially when there are integration points where we need materials or resources from different sources, it makes sense to establish another gate and make sure that we have a full kit there before the project is being handed to the next hands. When we establish the full kit process, we need to make sure that we have a generic checklist, that we have the expert in charge to make sure it is adjusted to every project. We need to have a gate one and a gatekeeper, a manager to ensure that it's happening. And very often we need additional gates down the line in other integration points or in handover points where a certain department or a certain team hands over the project to the next team. They better do so with full kit or the next team will be delayed. An example that I was witnessing with a very large body shop in a car dealerships in North USA. Body shop, North USA, there's a lot of snow. They have over 6 months a year of snow. So there are a lot of car accidents and there is a lot of work for the body shop. And the normal process that they had was as soon as the car comes into the body shop, the estimator examines the damage, puts down his report, submits it to the insurance company to see what they will cover, tells the owner of the car what the insurance will cover, if he or she wants to cover anything else. They order the parts, and then it's being taken care of in the body shop. However, very often, at the beginning of the work on this particular project, which is fixing that particular car, as soon as the expert technician started working on the car and stripping it, they uncovered hidden damage. What does that mean? Everything comes to a halt. Delay. Now we have to order more parts. Now we have to get another urgent authorization from the insurance. Everything goes to hell. All the preparations were not sufficient. It's a classic example of lack of full kit, right? They can't continue on the car because they're missing items. They established what is called gate zero. Gate zero means we need a gate to handle full kit before we start working on the project, before gate one. What they did was, as soon as someone arrives with a car to the body shop, it is standing in line for gate zero. And in gate zero, it is not the estimator who walks around the car. It is one of their expert technicians that actually strips down the car at that point. So now the checklist that he makes is going to be most likely the full kit. And now they are asking for all the needed authorizations and the cover from the insurance. And now they get all the permissions from the owner, etc. And they order all the parts. So as soon as they get working on the car, it flows and then they finish. I cannot tell you what a difference that it makes. Before that, they had incidents where a car was held in their parking lot for weeks, sometimes a month or over a month. Now, what they did was, as soon as they made the list of the checklist, if the car was drivable, they put it together, they gave the owner the option to drive it, and then they will let them know 2 days in advance, bring it because now it's going to time to take care of it. Or if the car wasn't drivable, they had a designated parking lot for it. But as soon as they started working on the car, it wasn't a matter of weeks or over a month. It was a matter of 3 days. Can you imagine the revenues and the profit that they turned? They became the best reputation body shop in the whole area. This is the power of full kit. And full kit is one of the rules of flow if we want to guarantee a fast flow of projects that will go through our operation. There are other obstacles that will cause delays that we want to take care of them if we want to ensure fast flow. Some of these obstacles to flow are specific. So when I came to write the book, my question was, how can I help all these managers, all these project managers and top managers in every multi-project environment to identify the rules of flow? And my objective was to write the book in a way that as fast as possible increases people's intuition to think in terms of flow, to identify those major obstacles in their own environment, and to get a pretty cool idea, a pretty good idea, how to overcome them. And this is what this book is all about. I chose 6 or 7 of the main obstacles to flow, so people will be able to see how they look like in different environments. And I wrote the book in a way that increases people's intuition. So even if the obstacle to flow, the cause for delay, is not one of the obstacles that I chose to cover in the book, they will be able to get to figure it out probably on their own. In some complicated situations, it will make sense to save a lot of time and effort and ask for a consultant, but you need to start somewhere. I know that people don't have time today. I know that people don't have patience to read today. It would have been very easy for me to write the book taking 400 pages. But my objective was a book that people can read in less than 4 hours. The book in English is 170 pages. That's it. And now I can tell you that 2 years after it was published, after hearing thousands of feedbacks, it's a good place to start. Goldot Rules of Flow is available on Amazon worldwide in different marketplaces. By the end of this year, it will be translated to 16 languages. And to overcome challenges that if I can be of help, I'll help. So definitely Amazon, but also other local business stores. And if anyone is looking for a copy in their own language, just want to ask, feel free to approach me on LinkedIn, Efrat Goldratt. I'll be happy to help. The whole idea was to write the book for my father. My father wrote the goal 40 years ago. The estimation is that the book was read by 50 million people around the world. And I know, and he knew, that the goal is written in a way that makes it easier for people to understand the concepts of how to go about it in production, but it's less intuitive how to translate those principles in the goal to project environment. Writing the book about the rules of flow was his next challenge, was the next book he intended to write. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. He passed away, and I took it upon myself to write this book for him. And the challenge was not only to write it in a short version as possible, the challenge was also to write it in my father's style. So hopefully when people read it, they will say, this is a golden book.